Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Joanne Binford, and you are with us today at Binford Chronicles. Today on Binford Chronicles, we're joined by Tim Dillard, the visionary behind Two for America, a bold movement calling people across the nation and around the world to pause for just 2 minutes and pray for America. What about that? Let's pray for America. Tim is the founder of the Legacy Park, a 230-acre project in Texas dedicated to reclaiming American history and reconstructing our future. Tim's vision doesn't stop there. His work goes deeper, focused on restoring faith, land, ownership, and a renewed sense of national purpose in America. He also introduces Freedom Place, a powerful concept designed to build meaningful networks that strengthen communities and create shared benefit for everyone connected. This is a conversation about faith, unity, and the future of America. You won't want to miss it. Stick around for this short teaser on the conversation that follows.
On July 3rd, for the first time, and on November 1st, we'll turn the lights on for every city so that every city with a person signed up will begin to light up the world, intending to pray 2 minutes for America. Each event will start on the minute, and we will be led through the app on July 3rd. Everyone in Christian ministry, and on November 1st, the entire world will be invited to push the Pray Now button and pray for America for 2 minutes. Then push the I Just Prayed button. And your city light turns red and blinks for 2 months. And then as people finish their 2 minutes, they all click I Just Prayed. The white lights turn red and blink for 2 minutes for America, all over the world.
Welcome back to Binford Chronicles. Today on Binford Chronicles, we're joined by Tim Dillard. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hello. You go by JoJo, right? You go by JoJo?
That's right.
Do they call you JoJo?
Yes, they do call me JoJo.
Well, we had a JoJo in our family for a while, and she was the best person I ever met. So I hope if you can be half what she was, you'd be an incredible human being. I'll tell you. So
Oh, well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
it is. So how are we doing today? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to do?
Well, I really love this idea that you have of us all praying for America. Lord knows that America needs prayers, and to have the whole world join us in prayer on this big map is amazing.
So America has, if you start back in the 1950s when the National Day of Prayer was invented, there are thousands of prayer initiatives ongoing right now, and some of them have been ongoing for 40 years, and I could show them to you. So America doesn't need more prayer. It's got plenty of prayer. Now, should that mean we should not pray? No, we should pray. The problem is that everybody's on their own, right? There's literally thousands of prayer initiatives ongoing, and ours isn't a movement. It's not even an event. It's a moment, because the problem is, and the motivating factor behind this is not let's pray. The motivating factor is that we're already praying, and I don't see the results that we really all want yet. Well, you pray until you get the results, so we know that. And really, this all started with Judge Roy Moore in Alabama 22 years ago. The prayer initiative and the American Legacy Park, which you mentioned in your opening. I was called by a group of pastors, a bunch of big national pastors that were his leadership group, for trying to keep the Ten Commandments crush in the Supreme Court Rotunda in Montgomery, Alabama, if you recall that. And I mean, I literally picked up the phone, and a bunch of pastors are on the line. And this is before we could do these two-way conversations. This was 2003. And they said, "We hear you're the guy to help us keep the Ten Commandments crush." And I was familiar with with the case. And I went, well, I have no idea how you got my name. And they started, well, we talked to this. I said, well, I wouldn't know what to do. And they said, well, and so we talked a little bit. And as I listened to them, I started getting a little feel for what I thought needed to be done. And we, I mean, understand these are all heavily ego-driven Type A personality pastors of most of them of major ministries of names that if I said you'd know,
Mm-hmm.
especially back then. And so I said, well, look, we got to move fast. I get that, and everybody has to eat tomorrow. And I remember it was on a Thursday. I said, everybody's got to eat tomorrow at noon, and y'all are in different places all over y'all just get back on this call. Back then we used to do conference calls, remember? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
everybody do a conference. We'll do the same conference call tomorrow at noon Central Time, and I'll have something for you. And so I go in. I had a bunch of people work for me, and we had one of the things we had was a marketing company and what was then called an internet marketing company before there was such a thing as SEO. And we had a bunch of talented people. So I said, look, here's the problem. Here's what I think. And we got to brainstorming, and we came up with the plan. And the plan was you're going to lose in the courts because I've studied this for so long. I knew that the fix was in. There was no way they were going to let that stay. And you're going to lose. And the plan was you're going to lose. So what we're going to do is announce to the media a huge event with the Ten Commandments crash. And then we will then go in and ceremoniously, sorry, I got a scratchy nose. We'll go ceremoniously remove it ourselves because it's like
Mm-hmm.
judo. You use the momentum that's coming against you against your opponent. And so we'll take it out. We'd found some land that we stayed up all night. We built a website, which back then was a miracle to build a full website with registrations and everything. It was called 15 Minutes of Faith. And we had 15minutesoffaith.com. We had to build the site because there was no way to do a meeting and show documents and stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
not
had
like
to
it is today.
we had to be on the phone and say, all right, everybody go to this website. Good. Don't click anything. And we had to, and the strategy was to go in, pick up the Ten Commandments crash, move it to some land that we located online that we could buy, and build a huge covering and things like that. And everybody in the whole world, especially with these people starting off, like I think it was 27 pastors, they would have easily touched 100 million people, these 20, with their media and everything else. And then it would spread around the world. And we'll get the whole world to come to pray for America for 15 minutes each. They'll be in a live feed that's low angle, and you can see we'll put a giant cross and American flag because that's what they hate to see
Mm-hmm.
each other. And everybody will come and pray for America. They will be in silhouette. They will share it out to everybody that they know, which that was a radical concept to be to share because all you had was MySpace back then.
I remember MySpace.
And everybody will want to come to Alabama to pray for America because people know what's getting ready to happen. And so
Mm-hmm.
we did it out and went through the presentation. These guys are crying. They're praising God on the phone. They unanimously approve the plan. And I mean, and Jojo, when you start looking, you go, what are all the greatest miracles in history? And you're right. Well, that splitting the Red Sea is a pretty big deal. And that walking on water and that resurrection thing, those are pretty big. But right after that is 27 American pastors agreeing unanimously to the same thing in one meeting. And they redlined it, ready to go. And I went home that night, and I'll say exactly how I said it because I'm not some holy guy. And I sat down in my theater room and I literally looked up at the ceiling and went, what the hell have I got myself into? And the phone rings not more than a minute later. It's his lawyers. And they're like, we are not going to allow you to do this. And it didn't take long before they were yelling and cussing at me. And then they learned, because my background is hillbilly, redneck, Cajun, and Texan. So I got cuss words nobody's ever heard of. And I blistered them and they blistered me. And I found out later it was a good friend of mine that was paying all the legal fees for all the lawyers in that case. And so we put it on the shelf and we said, all right, we don't need to worry with that. You know, I was relieved. I was like, great. All right. I don't have to do that. I can go back to my life. But I kept it. And I knew because I saw the reaction, I knew there was something to it. And there's been a couple of times since then where something would happen, I'd go, well, maybe we better trot this out. And then about 16 weeks ago, because our Freedom Place project is a huge project, and it's getting ready to launch here, a soft launch here pretty soon. And so all of our focus for 3 years and all of our money's been going into that. And we had this idea for this 15 minutes of faith, and we knew we were going to do that, but much later. And
Mm-hmm.
with it was the American Legacy part. So the 15 minutes of faith is the praying, and the American Legacy part is giant cross, American flag, and I can talk about how that's evolved. But so I get a call from one of my business partners in Freedom Place. He's just come out of a meeting with POTUS. He says, man, I said, what happened? He says, he wants me to get prayer going in the United States. And I said, what else? He said, he wants us to start renaming things. And I went, what are you talking about? He says, well,
Yeah.
he's going to rename Lake Ontario to Lake New York. Oh, I said like Gulf of America from Gulf of Mexico. He goes, yeah. So I'll leave his name out right now. I said, well, Joe Schmo. I said, we've been praying. That doesn't make any sense to me. We got so many prayer initiatives, it's not even funny. If you do research, you're going to go, well, shoot, we should have anything we want as Christians with all the prayer that's going on. And he goes, yeah, I know. I said, and I said, and what he's really talking about is with the renaming, he wants to reclaim the culture. He goes, yeah, that's what he said. I said, well, you don't know this, but on the back end, and he's a partner, he said, on the back end of Freedom Place, what we were going to do is this and that. He went, oh my God, send that to me. And I went, well, I haven't touched it in over 10 years. He says, well, just send me what you got. So I stay up. I put together some stuff. I send it to him a few days later, and he calls back and goes, man, I want to show this to POTUS. I went, you're not showing that to anybody, because it was just down and dirty so he could understand the concept. He
So
says,
he's talking about reclaiming the American culture
yeah,
and our history and what it's.
yeah, rename something. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, I like that, but that isn't going to stop that march of evil that's going on. It's a march of evil. It's a well-planned, well-funded, 200-year-old plan to destroy this country. And nobody is able to coordinate the response and then the attack to stop it. And because it's just so well funded, and it's 200 years in the making. I mean, this is not something new.
No, and
And
two for America makes sense to me because we are a Judeo-Christian nation, and to have prayer just makes so much sense to me, to bring us together and for that
well, yeah. So
part of our culture.
what happened is I met with my vice president of marketing on the Freedom Place project on that following Monday, and I was telling him the story, like, oh, you can't believe this, and he's you'll meet him. His name's Dr. Mike Montez. He's one of the co-founders of the Two for America project, and I was telling him about it. He goes, and his pulse rate. My pulse rate's like 7,000, right? I'm always ready to go. If they were coming to coming to get Jesus, and I was standing next to him, I wouldn't have cut off one ear. I'd have cut off 12 ears before he got to him. I'd have gone after him, and I'd have been wrong. But Mike has got a pulse rate of about 2. I mean, he's so calm. I tell him, but he goes, Tim, we need to do the prayer thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, so let's talk about this, what we're meeting. He says, no, man, we need to stop everything. We got to do the prayer thing. And I was like, Mike, don't have any money for that. We don't have any time for it. We don't have the people for it. He goes, no, we got to do the prayer thing. When he said that, boom, it hit me like, crap, here we go again. And so I put together what you see now, and it became, instead of 15 minutes, it's 2. And JoJo, this thing has spread all over the world in the last few weeks. It is. We got calls to go meet with all of Trump's top people for the American Legacy Park, and Freedom Place. And they said, you're going to be one of 30 people meeting with Trump. Well, I already knew Trump wasn't going to be there. So all my guys were excited. Oh, we get to go to Mar-a-Lago, meet with Trump. I said, you're not going to meet with Trump, but y'all can go. So I had to call them back and said, look, we got 3 projects, not 1. And we need 3 of the 30 seats. So they okayed that. And it was these guys, the reports they gave back to me. So it was an event at Mar-a-Lago where bigwigs representing Trump and Republicans and money. And we're coming into room to meet with different people. And you were told, get your ask ready. Tell them what you want, what you're doing, and what you want. And they called me and told me some of the leading people. I'll leave their names out, but you'd recognize every name. Big media people, big people inside Trump administration, big money people inside the Republican Party. They were supposed to spend 2 or 3 minutes with each person, just going around like this, right? And they got the biggest 3 guys. Once they got to our guys, they spent an hour each behind each other, 3 straight hours with our guys. And one of them, they said he just sat there and started crying. He said, oh my God, we have to do this. We're getting ready to meet with him again, hopefully in February, actually next week, for a big meeting in February. So it has caught fire very quickly of the idea of just stopping the whole world, just screw everything, stop the world. We're all going to focus on America. Everybody's been taken from America. And we're just going to, what we can all do is pray for America for 2 minutes. Next thing I know, I got Muslim people and Hindu people and Buddhist people calling me going, what about us? We want to pray for America. I'm like, well, actually the plan was we'd all have a war and kill you and you kill us. But I guess it's better if we just pray together. So
yeah, they can join in.
No, yeah.
No, we don't care if you want to pray for America. Come on, join the party.
So as it's grown and morphed, we're going to do 2 events, appropriately enough, 2 for America. The first one on July the 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern will be the collection of everybody in Christian ministry, and it doesn't matter if they're a pastor or a janitor or part-time help in the nursery. Anybody that's in Christian ministry anywhere in the world, the app coordinates everything, and you hit it, and it counts down the 2 minutes. And everybody that signs up right now, you're running the sign up. Everybody that signs up, whatever town they're in, they will forever be linked as the person that turned the light on in that town. And on that night is the first night that we'll have all the lights on the map out. There's 4 million cities in the world. Our goal is to have all 4 million lit up with at least one person from all 4 million cities. We got people going into China, into India, into Pakistan. I've got people in Turkey. I got people in Abu Dhabi. We've got people all over South America, Mexico, Canada, Australia, Europe. It is, and these are leaders that can then begin signing up other leaders in Christian ministry.
They can sign up at any time.
Sign up right now, just like it says, 2foramerica.com. If you're the first one to sign up from your town, pass it on, and you'll have a chance to put your photo in there. And your photo, when anybody mouses over your city. So what city are you in?
Vero Beach, Indian River County. So
if you're the first person from Vero Beach, you can sign up, and then you'll eventually you'll be contacted to upload a photo. And then if anybody mouses over Vero Beach, because you can zoom in on the map, and they'll see your name is the one, and it'll count everybody that's signed up from Vero Beach.
Yeah, I signed up.
Awesome. And so you're probably already on the map as it is. And what that'll do is gives people an incentive, right, to go now. And then that will kick off that event, the first event, 2 events for America. 2 people started this, 2 minutes. And that night, everybody will pray. We'll turn on all the lights to all the cities that have somebody in them with Christian ministry. And then as everybody, the app will coordinate everything. We don't have to have an event. Mm-hmm. It'll all be coordinated through the app.
Technology.
Yeah. And you just go pray now, and it'll count down the 2 minutes, and it'll give you suggestions for things to pray for. You can control that yourself. And then at the end of 2 minutes, you click, I just prayed. And if your town will then turn red and blink for 2 minutes.
Ooh, yeah.
And so then that kicks off the global sign up. And our goal is 2 billion people, to what we call 2 billion believers, because it's quickly spread beyond the boundaries of Christianity. The fellow leading our Jewish outreach, I just had a letter from me headed to Benjamin Netanyahu as an invite. I don't know what's happened to that yet. And I'm not against anybody. I'm for everybody. I'm for peace. I'm for unity. What I'm against, actually, let me contradict myself. I'm against evil. I'm against the evil that wants to cut off a child's penis. I'm against the evil that wants to turn everybody gay. I'm against the evil that's poisoning our food and our water and the chemtrails in the air. I'm against the coordinated evil to undermine goodness and family values and faith. And we're not going to stop this. If you study it, and I have a PhD in this stuff, you're not going to stop it by just a few politicians doing the right thing. That will help, and it's necessary. You're not going to stop it by just fixing the elections, which we haven't fixed. And right now, we
No,
lose.
it's
We've
coming
lost.
at us at all ends. I mean, it's not just the
Right.
elections, it's the bills that are being passed, and it's the, hey, people that are supposed to be being held accountable for not doing their jobs as oath keepers, as representatives. There, nothing seems to happen to them. So we've got it
Yeah.
coming at us in very many different directions.
Stuart Rhodes, you mentioned Oath Keepers in a different context, but Stuart Rhodes, you know him, I guess, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So
yes, I know who he is.
Stuart's one of the people going to be doing all of this stuff that we're doing, and there's a guy that's paid quite a price for my freedom. You know,
Oh, a lot of the J6ers did. I interviewed a few J6ers, and it's insane because they weren't following our Constitution,
no,
and it was
that
all political retaliation to people that love this nation.
right.
And like you said, they are corrupt and they are trying to take it down.
Right. I was on a show earlier today, and we got into that. And the Humanist Manifesto, which came out in the 30s, said, "Look, this is how we take over America. You got to take over one party. That's all you have to do. And the way you do that is, and they called it robes and rulers, which is the judiciary and education. And look what's happened to the judiciary and education.
Well,
And
education has been prostituted to, the evil side, where they wanted to, like you said, change the sex of our children.
it's
Um,
dark.
it's
Yeah.
it's very dark, and even with unwed marriages, all this, it's just the family unity has been torn up.
Right.
It's been
Again,
torn up.
we're talking beforehand. The last 75 years has seen the total destruction of America. The American family has been totally destroyed. 85% or so of black children are born out of wedlock. It's almost 50% in white and Hispanic families born out of wedlock because the family has been demonized. The whole
Hmm.
idea of the family has been demonized. A coordinated attack, it's over 200 years in the making. They don't have trillions of dollars to fight us, they have quadrillions.
Yeah, and they're
They've been
trying to demonize us as human beings, where women have been fighting for rights for decades, and now there are people out there that can't even, if you ask them what is a woman, they don't know what a woman is, and they're
well, I know what a woman is. I saw my wife 30 years ago, 30 years and 19 days ago. And I know what a woman is. And that was a woman, I tell you.
Yeah, but it's that teaching and it's that preaching and it's that brainwashing that they've been doing to our children, and that's kind of what was discovered through Moms for Liberty during the COVID times.
Right.
When they started watching over the shoulders of their kids and saying, "What are you learning? What are you
Are
talking
you in
about?"
moms? Are you in Moms for Liberty?
I was a member way back. Moms for Liberty started in our county here in Florida,
Is
Indian River
that
County.
Tiffany
Tiffany
Justice?
Justice
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Tiffany Justice and the other woman, and then
yeah.
our chairwoman was Jennifer Pippin, and she has since stepped down. But without Moms for Liberty, they mobilized the parents and let the parents know. They had panels of people reading through books just to find the DEI in the educational books,
Well,
and when you think about it, if it wasn't for COVID, the indoctrination would have still been infiltrating
oh,
our.
right. Well, it's still widespread. And California, oh my God, we're talking about the amount of evil. We're not even getting to the baseline of evil, which is the pedophilia and the child rape. Do you know that during the 4 years that the Auto Pen was in charge of the country, they had over 1 million children brought in. All right, I've talked to all these guys on the front lines of this stuff. The average age was 9 years old. You know why they're not going to find those kids? The average age was 9 years old. Average age, 9. The
Mm,
average child was raped 20 to 50 times a day each for money.
mm.
Million kids, 9 years old, raped 20 to 50 times a day. I've seen videos of pregnant 9-year-old girls holding a baby and having to go back inside because Johns are coming
Hmm.
in
That's just
and
it's
can't speak a word of English. and their average lifespan was 18 months. And
Yeah.
at the end of that, they carved them up and sold off their organs for money.
Yeah.
That's
So,
America. That's what's
well,
going on in America. So if we don't do something different than what we're doing, right? Keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different. Oh, let's all pray.
mhm,
No, no, that's not what we want to do. We have to do three things. We have to have a common objective that unites humanity. And it
mm.
can't be just in America because this evil is all over the world.
Yes, it is.
We were talking before the show. Europe is pretty much gone. I don't have any hope for Europe at all. Because if you start analyzing the numbers, they could come back, but it's a 100 to 200 year process to get them back.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And
It's like 3 generations to get them
yeah,
back.
oh, at least that's just to get the birth rate turned around. Because
Hmm.
then you have to go another. Then you're still dealing with all the laws and all the communism and all the censorship and everything that's going on in this totalitarian society that they've built for themselves over there. So the elite can get control of everything. And so we have to do three things. We have to unite humanity in a common objective that anybody can do. Pray 2 minutes, but do it for America. You can coordinate on the app. You don't want to have Christian stuff on your app. You can change it to Jewish or Hindu or Muslim. I doubt any Satanists are going to want to pray for America, but they're going to be involved because do you know John Ramirez out of Tampa, Florida?
Uh-uh.
John Ramirez was a warlock at age 5. He was head of the entire satanic church over the East Coast in America. And
Wow.
stories he'll tell you blow your mind. Went to hell, came back, became a Christian. And a long story, but powerful. And he's in Tampa. And he'll tell you
Hmm.
they monitor everything going on in Christianity and they assign people to do all kinds of evil things to people that are making a difference. And they come after them both in the way they do their chants and incantations and then physically and things like that. So there is a satanic presence in America that most people don't understand. There's another guy named Fritz Springmeier that everybody should be reading his stuff because he's done 40 years of research on Satanism in America. But so we have to do these three things, JoJo. We've got to unite. It's a simple common objective. Will you pray 2 minutes for America? We hadn't found anybody that
Who
said
would say
no.
no, right?
Will you play 2 minutes for America? Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
here's the catch. We're not looking for your money. We're not looking to start a movement. We're not looking to have a revival. We're not looking for any of that. We want everybody not at 9 p.m. in each time zone or 2 p.m. in each time zone because the second event is on November 1st and the first is on July 3rd. We want to do it all at the same exact moment around the world at the same time. First of all, with all the Christian prayer people, Christian leaders, and anybody in ministry on July 3rd. And then on November 1st, which is a Sunday, which is All Saints Day. So that gives us a good olive branch and outreach to the Catholics and the Lutherans and the Methodists and everybody that All Saints Day means something more to it than maybe the evangelicals and the charismatics and the non-denominationalists and all that. And now on that day, everybody's in church and everybody's able to stop for 2 minutes and pray for America at the same time around the world. And then everybody can look on their app and they'll be able to put it because we also have American prayer walls that we're developing that are big, 50 foot by 80 foot. We got churches and people saying we want to order one for outside of our church.
Mm.
In Turkey and in Abu Dhabi. Now imagine a big prayer wall that's lighting up in real time the people that are praying for America, both before the event, during the event, and after the event in different places around the world. Why? Because we are commanded in Genesis to take dominion and subdue the earth. We are commanded. We stopped doing it in the early 1900s. I can show you how it happened, why it happened. And now we are commanded to take dominion and subdue the earth. And we stopped doing it. And now the strong men are awakening. And now the strong women, really, the women have always been there. Waiting on the men has been the problem. And so now the men are waking up. The alpha dogs are coming to the fight. And so our first goal is to get the whole world to just stop for 2 minutes, and that will send a shockwave, JoJo, into the macro. Into the macro. The macro is where all this is being orchestrated. All the stuff happened in Indian River County. All the stuff happening at the different places here in Texas that we're talking about. I forget the name of the development. All these things, all the
The
stuff happened.
Meadows.
Yeah, yeah. All the things
Epic
happening in
City.
our schools, all the things happening in the politics, all the corruption in Minnesota, which is in every single state. It's been orchestrated and coordinated, but we're seeing the results of a plan. The plan is well thought out, and it's with evil people in evil places, and it's just a few thousand of them that have been doing this. And we need to send something that sends a shockwave all the way into that macro, because we're all dealing with the results of what's going on here. And you got the same question that anybody that cares about this country, that cares about their family, is asking. They're all saying the same thing. How do I stop that and still take care of my family? How do I leave everything I'm doing and still go be able to take care of my family? And so that's what we can do collectively for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to use the American Legacy Park to go reclaim every statue, every monument taken out of the public square, put it all there in one place, and then build new statues, new monuments. It's an amazing thing on 230 acres in between Austin. Don't take this the wrong way, it's much bigger and much better than Mount Rushmore, which is in the middle of nowhere, and I'll bet you've never seen it.
Tim, when's the last time we built a historical monument?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know why? Because do you know the year Mount Rushmore was built?
Oof, I'm terrible with dates.
Great. I'm great at them. 1941. Why is that the last time we did anything like that? Because we had World War II, and then we had communism. The communism came right in at the end of World War II. That's why Patton was over there going, "Why? We fought the wrong enemy. We should have been fighting the communists." Next thing you know, he's dead, and the communism spreads throughout America. And now we're on the it's at our doorstep in a way that few could have imagined, and it's much
It really
more.
is.
It's proliferated much more than anybody wants to think about right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
really is.
if we don't unite and have this moment, which is just a common objective to bring us together, if we don't begin to recapture our lost history, which has been stolen and erased, while we reconstitute our future with statues that are 77 foot tall from Christopher Columbus all the way through to Charlie Kirk and beyond. And we got all this design. There's a huge plan with that. And it's right. The beauty of it is it's 35 minutes from the Austin airport and 35 minutes from the San Antonio airport.
So, Tim, the America Legacy Park, is that close to the River Legacy Park? Is it anywhere near that? Are those two different parks?
I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Oh, that was in Arlington, Texas. Where is the
So Arlington's
America?
in Dallas. If you come down, so if you think of Texas, here's Houston, here's San Antonio, and up here is Dallas. So if you go from San Antonio to Dallas, or Dallas to San Antonio, our park is right near San Antonio, about 35 minutes from San Antonio. So Arlington, I don't know what the river park is in Arlington.
How did you guys acquire that 230 acres?
We owned it. Actually, we have a development plan there, and I was talking to my partner in that deal, and all this other stuff that I started out saying that was beginning to happen to me, not through me. As a result of a meeting with my friend out of D.C., I went and he said, "Well, what's the latest?" And I was telling him about that. We were on the land. It's a gorgeous piece of land. And he says, "Why don't we just do that here?" I went, "Well, we got other plans for this." He said, well, we can keep doing that. And once we get that ready, then we'll just move all the land to this. And I went, "Okay, let's do it." So, and then we found out after that because we're on the south side of what's called San Marcos River, we're not in the city of San Marcos. And San Marcos, Texas is a college town, and so it's incredibly leftist. They don't want any development. They're communists. They don't want any development. They don't want anything new. To do a development in a building that my partner bought in downtown San Marcos took 4 years just to get the permit to remodel the building. 4 years. So he has to sit on his investment for 4 years.
So what's the population count there? Is it like really small?
Well, Austin and San Antonio are just one city now. So you've got between the two of them, you've got about 5 million people there.
Ooh, that's a lot of people.
Within 250 miles, you got 30 million people. So Mount Rushmore, built in 1941, four heads, 55 foot tall each, on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. Great, incredible achievement. But it was 1941. We can't do anything better since 1941? Really? No, I think we can do something big. I thought we were Americans. I thought we were supposed to be great. I thought we were supposed to think bigger. And so now
Mm-hmm.
we'll take the whole freaking history, but we're interjecting the history of God's hand on America in this thing. So you'll see a statue from my Catholic friends. You'll see a statue of Father Brebeuf, which all my Catholic friends don't know who that is. Father Brebeuf, Jesuit priest, evangelizing the American Indian. And they torture him, boil him in oil. He blesses them the whole time. And then that didn't work. So they began to strip his skin off of him while he's boiling in oil. And he blessed them and smiled and never showed any pain until he died. So, of course, the next Jesuit priest is tracking down to find out what happened to Father Brebeuf and finds these natives, right? And he's prepared for the worst because he figures this is probably where he met his end. And they all convert to Christianity. Do you know why? Because they saw a power greater than any power that they'd ever seen before in that guy, Father Brebeuf. And nobody knows about him. Nobody's honored him. But his sacrifice led to the greatness of this country. Another guy, Robert Hunt, who was the pastor on the ship that landed in Jamestown, Virginia in 1607 and created a covenant between God and America. And he wrote that prayer. A year later, everything he owned burned, and a year later, he's dead. The only thing that survived Robert Hunt was that prayer. It's a covenant of prayer for God and America. And God is a covenant God, and that is the covenant that we are under. And nobody knows about it because, Jojo, we're not supposed to know about it. It's been erased from history. All these things they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that the Revolutionary War was about the battle cry as they went into battle, which they didn't scream, no taxation without representation. They screamed, no king but King Jesus, as they ran into battle. And they were called Yankees because they would run into battle with a pitchfork and yank the weapon away from the British. And that's where they got that name. That's the kind of people that built the country. That's the kind of people that built our country. And so the American Legacy Park is to reawaken all of that, to unfold the truth and the good and the bad. We've got great contacts with over 400 of the Native American Indian, Native Americans. I always forget what we're supposed to call them. The American Indians is what I say. The American Indians, the tribe. We want to show the Trail of Tears, which happened under Andrew Jackson. And shows, we want them to tell us, what do you want everybody that comes to this from all over the world to know about the American Indians' 300 years of history or 500 years of history?
He was cruel to the American Indians, but he actually did the right thing with gold and silver.
Well, he got the blame for that, but there's a whole nother story to that. He shouldn't have got the blame. There was the people on the ground that were making those decisions. And so he got the blame for the Trail of Tears, but he was a tough dude. I can tell you that much. If he's a man, I need to transition because I ain't a man compared to him.
Yeah, I think I was. He made the executive order, the specie curricula, which brought the gold and silver into play and really killed the banks.
Right, that was his joke that he wanted to put on his tombstone. I killed the bank. It's through popular retelling, everybody says it's on his tombstone. It's not. He joked, put I killed the bank. And that's a whole nother discussion. And so,
yeah, I was watching a documentary on it the other day and I was liking the gold and silver. I was like, that's God's money. We should have gold and silver. And then then they moved on to the Indians and I was like, oh, I don't like him. He was a horrible person.
Well, they vilified him more than he deserved with that. Believe me, he gave the order for the movement, but he didn't give the order for what they did to children and stuff. But point being, we don't hiding the truth is what gets you into trouble. Yeah. We got to deal with the truth, and I can't wait to have the meeting because one of my partners in Freedom Place has coordinated all the tribes the leaders of all the tribes meeting with Bobby Kennedy. I
Mm.
mean, I don't pretend to understand what it's like to coordinate that many people for health, because they want to change the health initiatives because it's so bad inside the Native American population. We've just, God, the things we've done since the Trail of Tears is much worse than the Trail of Tears. That was just a moment. I mean, the way we've created this slave class out of the American Indian and victimized them and make them think they're the victims. And I want them to be victorious. I want them to see themselves as victorious. They have an incredible history, the incredible DNA that we're lucky to be a part of. But you got to stop. You got to stop thinking that you're victims and that white people stole all your land. It's just, as we were talking about earlier, it's not stealing land. It's just birth rates. And so you're seeing the reverse of that happening now.
Yeah. Well, America was not good to the Indians, but it's, in today's day and age, I'm just like the people that I hear saying, that we took their land are mostly the Mexicans. you know?
Well, everybody
When
says you
they,
took
when
their
they did
land.
their No King's Day and everything, and you're on our native land.
Well, I'm down here with them, and the two of my actually, let me see, 4 of my 6 partners now in Two for America are Mexicans, so I have a lot of fun with them. They're like, I said, "You want your land back?" I said, "Yeah, we want our land back." Yeah. I said, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get it back. Just wait on it." So
Yeah, I'm like, it's my native land now. I live here and I was born here.
it all goes back to birth rates, though. If you don't protect your birth rates, you're in trouble. And so they've made sure that the culture, the food, water, and air in America, but also in Europe and Canada and Australia, is about depopulation. They've just depopulated us, and they do it through lowering the birth rate. It's a simple thing to do.
Well, they've
Wow.
done a good job of it, and now we've got all this multiculturalism coming over, where they say we're gonna win this war by the womb.
Well, and you can't stop that at this point, because while they were doing all the things in the 4 areas to destroy Western culture's birth rate, they were doing the opposite of that in all the other cultures, which is to increase their birth rate. So they're used to having 7 to 8 kids. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I remember one family, 2 brothers, had 12 kids and 13 kids each. And they were just an Irish Catholic family, and nobody really thought much of it. Well, that seemed like a lot of kids, but it really wasn't that abnormal.
Yeah, I think Gen X was the largest and last generation that had the largest amount of families that had 5 kids, 5 and 6 kids.
Wow.
After, that's my generation. I have 4 other siblings.
Oh, okay.
My parents
Wow.
had 5 kids, but I think after my generation, I'm Gen X, the number of families having that many kids has dropped dramatically. And then
Where?
even the Gen Zers now are having even fewer kids.
Oh yeah. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York.
Get out the city.
Oh yeah, I was born in Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan.
Get the heck out! Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
hmm
When did you leave there?
When I was 22, I came to Florida. I kind of hitchhiked to Florida and wanted to get out of the city. I said, I am not going to marry a man from New York. And I,
Really?
I really did. I was at that age where I was looking for a partner, and I did not like the men in New York. And I said, I don't want to raise my kids here. It's changing. And I threw my thumb up and I said, 95 goes straight to Florida. If worse happens and I'm dead broke, I can hitchhike back home.
You didn't really hitchhike.
Yes, sir, I did.
You really put your thumb out. Oh my God.
You could do that in the 90s.
Barely.
It was the late 80s, actually. I'm
Yeah,
giving
the
away my
late
age
80s. Oh
now.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Ted Bundy was in operating in Florida back then. It was perfectly safe.
I don't think I was aware of him being out of Florida.
Thank. I'm glad you weren't aware of it, because if you had been, that'd have been a different story.
Yeah, but I tell you
Wow.
what, I came to Florida and I fell in love with it. And I was said, why the heck did God have me born in the city? I hate the city. I do not like that fast hustle, bustle, train,
Are you kind of rural now?
subways.
Are you in a kind of a rural
Oh my gosh.
location now? Are
Yeah,
you?
like, it's like living in Long Island, New York, here
Oh yeah, yeah.
in Indian River County. Everybody has a yard and, you've got your
So,
dog in the backyard. It's family life to
so you
me.
have fences, and so you're in suburbia then, right? You're not in. You're
Yeah,
not. You're not
yeah.
on farmland or anything.
No, and it's funny because when I was a little girl, and I remember this, I was 5 years old, and my uncle said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a mom, and I want to have a white fence in my yard." And he looked at me like I was insane. He says, "Oh no, that's not real. You have to get a job and go to school and all this stuff."
Yeah, and not have
and
any
uh,
children.
and I guess when I was in my 20s, I was like, "I'm getting the heck out of here, man. There's too much brick and mortar around me."
Wow. What did your family say?
Well, I already had some relatives that moved to Florida, so when I came to visit Florida, I fell in love with it, and so I said, I'm gonna move down," and I lived with my brother for a little while, and then
Okay, so you had some family.
yeah, and then I found my own place and bought $100 car. My first car here was $150. I bought it in New Smyrna, and it was a four-door Bonneville with a rusted out back window, and my first job was working as an electrician's apprentice for the IBEW, and I worked on the Dolphin Hotel and the Swan Hotel at Disney.
So
And
you were a gopher then, right? As a
I tell you
electrician's
what,
apprentice.
I didn't care what the job was. I was going to make it happen, you
So
know?
so did you learn how to be an electrician, or did you just fetch stuff?
I did learn how to be an electrician. I almost started working in the taking the IBEW training classes, and then I
Yeah.
met my husband, my first husband, and he's like, "I don't like you working on a construction site." So then I started looking for another job, and I found a job with a property management group that was more respectable. And then I wore dresses to work instead of overalls and my
So
hair up.
were you leasing apartments at that point, or what?
I was. I had a little apartment that I lived in, and I dated my ex husband, and he just was like, "I don't like you working on a construction site. You can do better. You can do better." And so I went. I signed up at college, and I started going to college, and I worked for the property management group for a while, and then I ended up getting married. I found, that guy that I didn't want to marry in New York.
Did you marry a New Yorker?
No, he was a Florida cracker. Oh, he was
Oh, okay.
he got you we went surfing and had fun and totally different country, country.
Yeah.
He's a Florida cracker, but yeah, so life took its turn there, and I ended up with kids, and then ended up divorced 20 years later, and then I'm married to a wonderful another Florida cracker, but he's really a gentleman. He's awesome.
And so now you're ready. Now you can go back to being an electrician, right?
My husband will love me whatever I do. He
Or
says,
has that?
"Honey,
So the electrician ship has sailed, is what you're saying. So
it's
there's
sailed.
no hope. There's no hope.
There's no hope, but at
You're
least
you're
at
you.
least I know how to work on my house if I need to.
I
I'm
was
not
gonna.
afraid. I'm not afraid."
Yeah, I mean that's we have some land that is off grid, and when we were preparing for the absolute worst of everything 7 8 years ago, we built 3 cabins. Me and a buddy of mine, he's ex SEAL, and I mean at that point I could barely operate a hammer, but we built 3 cabins, and now I love it. Off grid living. I mean we have no running water, no toilets, no electricity, and when you go out there and work like a dog, and you wake up and there's nothing. I mean, we're in the middle. We had to build a road to get to the land we bought.
Yeah, but then you're so proud. You get to look at your work and you're like, "We did
Well, yeah, no human being in the right mind would come into those buildings, I don't think.
that."
But they've managed to stay up long enough. And but I tell you that we got some chickens at one point and the raccoons ate them all. But just the idea. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but we just went out and did it. And there's a whole that's that you saw Mandami in is it Mamdani or Mamdani? I can't remember.
Ma'am Danny.
Ma'am Danny.
That's what I say.
Let's say it like a redneck said. Oh,
Ma'am Danny.
Ma'am Danny, that damn man Danny.
Ma'am Danny told a bunch of lies.
The enemy is rugged individualism. We're getting rid of rugged individualism.
Mm-hmm.
And you start looking at what the people did that founded this country and fought their ways through the wilderness. And I mean, there's the fact that he's saying that out loud tells you how entrenched the whole demonic communism. Now, understand what communism is. Alexander Solzhenitsyn wrote Gulag Archipelago, who knows more about communism than anybody in history, said this exact phrase: communism is the political embodiment of Satan. And it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is a political system of total and complete subjugation and control. And if we don't stop it, we're doomed. And there's a pastor north of you there in Tampa, Rodney Howard Brown, who came from South Africa. And he kept his church open during COVID, and they put him in jail. And when he came back, guess what happened to his church? It exploded. But he came from South Africa in the 80s. And the first interview he did, and it's still available, I think, on YouTube, the lady asked him, "Why did you come here?" He says, "Oh, well," it's got that thick South African accent. She says, "What's your biggest fear for America?" He says, "Communism." And they laughed on the interview. He said it. This was like 88, 87, around there. He said communism because he could see it. It was going, it's this spiritual demon of political control. When I was working in DC back in the 80s with some pretty powerful people, JoJo, and I was young and stupid, or stupider, younger and stupider.
We just aren't wise at that age, and we're risk takers. We're not stupid.
Well,
we're just risk takers.
I was like, so everything in DC is, I mean, these were power brokers. The guy that I was working for, I didn't realize his partner was Roger Stone. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Roger about that, but I said, well, everything's power and money here, right? He goes, oh, no. And so I'm thinking, oh man, what's it about? He goes, Tim, everybody here has power and money. Everything in DC is about one thing: control. If you think, what kind of person is attracted to go into government so that they control other people? Psychopaths.
Tim, when they used to ask Trump in the 80s, in early 90s, if he would run and why didn't he want to run, he said the same exact thing. He says, because it's horrible. It's a horrible place to be. People are not nice.
Oh yeah. So how do you fall on all the Q stuff and all those things going on? Have you studied that at all? Or I'm sure you can't be what you're doing and not run into that body of knowledge at the very least.
You listen to what everybody says, and you kind of formulate your own opinions and do your own research on it, and whatever you decide, feels comfortable with the research that you did. I mean, I've listened to Q, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I gotta look at that. I'm not a person that just believes everything off of what's
right. Yeah, me neither.
You've got to have some concrete evidence, and I've met some people that are like total. I'm like, what is MAGA? What does that mean? Like, right. Are you just like a blind follower, or can you say there are things Trump has done that you do not agree with? And I'm that person. I'm like, yeah, Trump's business side has handled some things really well, but his constitutional side, I can pose some arguments of where I think he's gone wrong.
A bunch.
And with representatives and stuff, certain representatives that have proven to have a good, strong constitutional record when it comes to bills that are very important, because you've got me going now, where you've got executive orders are temporary. They're Band-Aids. So if you don't have the representatives backing you to make them into law.
Codify. Yeah, they got to codify them. Yeah.
It's just a Band-Aid. It's a selling point for a temporary period of time. And then when he's gone, somebody else comes in and it's all screwed up again.
Right.
So, I think sometimes when the comments that he makes, I'm like, did he even really get to know that representative constitutionally, because there's a lot of other representatives that are wearing the R that are voting like Democrats, and he should be ripping a whole new rear end for those people instead of ripping a whole new rear end for somebody who's actually shown that they have followed their oath to the Constitution and voted properly on those bills that are meaningful. You
Right.
know,
Right.
everybody has an opinion and everybody has a moment to get upset and say what they want to say. And if they're a really good representative, they aren't going to keep their mouth shut when it goes against the president or his staff that's doing something that's hurting us in the long run.
You and I are like we're two sides of the same coin on this. I can assure you. I'm 100% right along with. I'm listening to what you're. I'm picking up on some key words on some of your phrases. Did you see Jack Smith hearings today at all? Did you watch any of that?
I was so busy today. No.
Oh, she's so
Well,
busy.
I work during the day
I
too.
know. I know. I'm
And
just kidding
even
you.
during the day with the stuff that was going on in Indian River County, my phone was blowing up, and I'm
Well,
like, okay, go to the bathroom and take a 10-minute break so I can respond.
I get to sit in front of my computer and I'm either doing interviews or shows or work or meetings, and I hardly ever even get out of my chair. But I have a TV in the room and I can keep that on while I'm doing certain things and watch it. But I mean, they hardly hit him hard at all. Jim Jordan hit him a little bit. Here's a guy that absolutely fabricated the whole Russia thing he was behind and knows it. But then, you go from the Republican congressman to the Democrat, and then they're protecting him. And I can tell you
Mhm.
already, not one damn thing's going to happen to that guy. He's not
No,
going to jail. Comey's not going to jail. Hillary and Bill, they know that. Oh, we don't have to come down there and testify. Screw y'all. All right, the contempt charges, they're not going to get arrested. They're not going to get put in jail. The two systems of justice has always been there is the problem that people don't understand. It's always been there. It hadn't been this blatant and this bad. But rich people have always been able to curry favor from government.
of
That's how
course.
government works.
Well, that's
And
why lobbying is such a terrible thing in government.
right,
These
right.
lobbyists go in and they are paying these representatives for their campaigns. So, hey, I've got this bill. Well, we actually had let me skip, okay, because this has really irked me during one of our campaigns, election seasons. Is we had a representative that went in as Senate president, waited the 2 years that he had to wait, and became a lobbyist. When he went in as Senate president, he was living in a $300,000 home. When he came out, waited his 2 years, he had all the connections now, right? Because he
Hmm.
was in government, became a lobbyist, and now he lives in a 2 point something $1 million home,
Sure.
making millions of dollars. And I campaigned against him, and I says, look, Trump said it in 2016 that we don't need lobbyists, but then Trump
Yeah.
went ahead and endorsed this lobbyist to
Right.
run, and I'm like,
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
you
the,
know,
the problem Trump has is he's doing a lot of the right things. I mean, if you'd have watched
he is.
if you watch, did you watch get to see any of the Davos speeches of
I
him?
did
And
see some of that.
did you see Bessent, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's
Yes, I
speech?
did.
I mean, he calls out Gavin Newsom, who's in the crowd, as being American psycho, which he is. He's crazy. What people don't know, I mean, maybe some people do, but I doubt it. The Democrat Party is run almost entirely by the CCP. Z calls the shots. So back when Newsom went to China on his own, and then shortly after that, Z, the premier of the Communist Chinese Party, the CCP, visits San Francisco, doesn't come to visit the president, visits the Newsom was making the payment to Z to get the Democratic Party nomination for president,
Mm,
which he'll get. You watch. So that's how far fetched and corrupt it really is.
it
I mean,
is.
and so, but when you get back to what you were talking about though with Trump, I mean, I can grade him really hard, but if you start looking at borders closed, I mean,
We needed
it,
that.
it,
Oh man,
if
he's good
he
there.
has to, for us to see who he really is, he has to declare martial law and do what Bukele did down in El Salvador. Which, by the way, we're going to be talking to Bukele about being a part of the Two for America and he'll probably join us on the Freedom Place project as well. But
And I know Trump is down to earth when you get him one on one as a person. I know he has a very caring heart. He has a good family. I think he's influenced by some of his advisors. And
well, I mean,
he can't possibly have everything down 100%. Because he is being pulled in so many directions. I mean, if we had lines pulling from his body, he would look like a web.
well, that's it exactly. Did you see the movie JFK by Oliver Stone? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
You need to see that. It's really good. It's got a lot of good facts, and it takes place in my home state of Louisiana, which is the only people that had the guts to go after the lie that was the Kennedy assassination. But there's a line in there where the generals are plotting, which they did, the murder of the president, and they're talking about how they're not all the way there yet. And the conversation, the guy says, McNamara is the key. McNamara was Secretary of Defense. He said, if you get McNamara, you can turn the head of the president. Got to control McNamara. And so that was the Secretary of Defense. But then you got the Chief of Staff, and you've got the all the other department heads, and then you have these concentric rings that build out from Trump that are all trying to influence towards the middle. And what you said. So now, and then you have people that have agendas, and you have people that have evil agendas that they're getting paid to do. And then you have people that have honest agendas that they think Trump's wrong, and they're trying to influence him in a different direction. And then you have all the disinformation that's a part of that world. And you end up with Trump having to go, well, let's do this instead of that. And then you're not going to have any congressman back him up to the point of what we were just saying, to codify an executive order that in the language is the right thing. They're not turning it into laws. They don't want to do that because they're all getting paid.
That's right.
All the Republicans are getting paid. All of them. Mm-hmm. All of them are getting paid. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't getting paid. I'm pretty sure.
I'm with Marjorie Taylor Greene on some of the things that she said, and I still don't know what the hoopla is about her being on the Five, because I watched the whole episode of the Five, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay to be civil at times. She was explaining her situation with Trump and what she was disagreeing with, and she made perfect sense in the points that she made.
Yeah.
And
well,
I'm
she had
sorry
the best voting record in Congress. She had the most conservative voting record in Congress. She supported Trump on every single issue.
She fought for him.
Except one. And so she went against him on one thing, and that one thing is what ejected her out of Congress.
Yeah, which is a sad thing. So I'm like, okay, so let's see who replaces her, because she was voting at 96%.
I got a woman that you need to talk to. Her name is Christine. She goes by Chris. Her last name is Bish, Bish.
Yeah.
And her slogan is Bish, please. She's running for Congress in California. She was running for Congress a few years ago, and her daughter died of an overdose of fentanyl. So she's very motivated to change things. She is the most lucid, most connected, most driven person, and she's not a lawyer. You think she is when you talk to her. But you want to get her on your show because she is absolutely stinking amazing, and we need to get her star rising. She'll blow your mind with what she knows and how she articulates.
We have a gentleman that's been working here in Indian River County, and he's been exposing the fentanyl crisis for 5 years now. And they weren't listening to him 5 years ago, and now they're starting to listen because it's here. It's at a point where he was trying to avoid and bring awareness, and they just didn't react.
Well, there's a TV series that ran on Netflix, and I guess they got another season coming called Peaky Blinders. You may have seen it if you were ever on Netflix. Peaky. It's the story of what happened in post-World War I London, where you had all these different factions colliding together. And what you learn from watching that is that government if you decide I'm not going to obey the rules, you're going to have a black market business, a mafia business, or whatever. Once you do that and you get money, now you have to make sure you protect your business by doing what? You got to buy off politicians, judges, and police. And so it doesn't take much to get enough money to then start buying the politicians, judges, and police on a local level. And then as you grow, then it has to be state, and then it's got to be national.
And everybody starts collecting their chit.
Right. And then if you don't pay off the right people, like Bernie Madoff, you go to jail. It wasn't that he was breaking the law or doing something that somebody else isn't doing. He just didn't pay off all the right people or didn't give them enough money that they wanted. because I assure you, he had money going into so many politicians' pockets it wasn't even funny. And so there's this connection between let's call it organized crime and government that is inevitable. It's unavoidable. It's inevitable. It's going to be there no matter what. So your government is going to get corrupted unless you do what Bukele did, which he went, screw it, martial law, everybody's getting arrested. If we think you're a crooked judge, you're going to prison. And he just arrested everybody. Next thing you know, he's got Max Kaiser coming in going, man, you need to take your money to off of whatever they had, whatever dinero or whatever, and go into Bitcoin. And so they did at 20,000. I haven't looked at Bitcoin today, but
how do you feel about Bitcoin? I mean, to me, it still feels like imaginary
well,
money.
look at what gold is. Is gold imaginary money?
Gold is real.
Wait. No. No, here's gold. You dig it up out of the ground, and then you go stick it in a safe, which might as well be under the ground again. And you say it has value because it's gold, because it's real. But you're not using gold to buy anything. You're not using it as a modem of exchange.
Yeah, but
it's
gold,
just,
you can use it to make things, just like silver.
Well, silver is much more utility.
To make a bullet, you can make a bullet.
Yeah. Well, gold's not. And I know a guy that's now got his own gold mine in Uganda. He's smelting the gold in Abu Dhabi, and he's got his own mineral bank now in Las Vegas. So yeah, I mean, you got to have something to base your money on. Gold is it. Now that said, let's forget gold for a second and look at how we all spend. I haven't had cash in my hand in years.
Really?
Years. Yeah, years.
Oh heavens.
Yeah, everything is either online or a card or whatever. So everything, which is wrong. I should just be doing nothing but cash transactions if I'm true to what I believe. But most transactions are not money. And do you write checks still?
No, but I use cash.
Okay. But do you pay your bills by sending cash?
We do the bills online, just like most
Correct.
people.
Which is based on what? Debits and credits. It's not even real, right? It's electronic.
Yeah, because your fiat's not even real.
Right.
Like if you went to the bank to get 10,000 out of it, they don't have it.
Right. So Bitcoin comes along, and we can get into Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever his name is, and what that really means is it translates in Japanese to central intelligence. But that said, the concept and the way it's set up, you can't take it over. 51% of it's never released. The 91 or 98 million or whatever it is coins, and now you got people mining for the coins, and you just create the same debit and credit system that we're already all using. And you say, now this is foundational to that. But nobody really buys anything with Bitcoin. It's just like gold. You dig it up, mine it, and then you have it, and then you try to sell it to somebody. But you're not using it to buy stuff.
You could trade it for something in your hand and not be tracked. Bitcoin, you're going to be tracked every single purchase.
Well, I mean, you can argue that
what are you trading for it? Like what's the actual physical trade that you're making? Like if I take my gold and I want to trade it for something, I'm going to get something in my hand for it. You know,
right.
If I take my gold and in Florida, they've accepted gold as a currency. So
right. Same in Texas.
Yeah. So if I went to a vendor that accepts gold, I'm going to trade it for something. But Bitcoin, I'm just going to trade something on a computer. And in my brain, I say, okay, there's somebody, because it's technology, somebody has to program that in. So somebody can shut down my account, at least if I have gold and they shut down my account. Example, when the truckers went on strike in Canada, right? They shut everything down.
Yeah,
but if I have gold and in my state, gold is a currency, I can still survive because they can't take it from me.
Unless you don't have enough bullets and guns to protect it. And so, because when you have that kind of collapse, everybody wants to think that gold's going to be valuable, and perhaps it may in certain places. But what becomes valuable then is food and salt and water. Salt's a real valuable thing to have. Salt and water. If you have that level of collapse, it's 2 weeks before the whole everything is into cannibalism. It takes 2 weeks. Grocery stores are empty in 3 days. It's 2 weeks before people turn to cannibalism. And so gold's not going to help you that much at that point. I assure you, you're not going to be going, man, I'm sure glad I got gold. You're
Well,
going to hand
man,
somebody a gold bar, and they're going to go, I want your food.
well, then I
want
need to build a house with a basement so I could invest
you
in
know,
ammunition and
you're going to have to go back to.
and the little fort with the.
We're going to complete the loop. You'll have to go to New York to build a basement because you're not going to have a home with a basement in Florida. It'll fill up with water in 5 minutes.
We'll move up to Pensacola, a little closer to Georgia. We'll build the little windows and like, all right, man.
Yeah. No, but all that's related to the Bitcoin question. So, is it really that less valuable than gold? That's where XRP comes in as a modem of exchange. That's where some other things. I can't get into all that we're doing. We're doing something to solve that right now. We've got some things that are going in our Freedom Place project, but I can't get into that side of the money. Put it this way: we had a double PhD in economics from Stanford look at the economic model on the back end, which solves that problem. It solves it for everybody.
Yeah.
And he looked at it and went, "This is going to work." And we said, "Well, how do you know that?" He says, "Well, it's common sense. What you figured out is simple." He said, "Where did y'all come up with the idea?" I said, well, "Chuck E. Cheese." So you start thinking, where does crypto do, right? It's this magical, it's not really money. But did you ever take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese?
Oh, yeah.
You may have gone as a child, right?
Not as a child, but as a young mom. Yeah.
All right. So they want to play the games, right?
That's right. And they use those.
So what did you have to? Yeah, you have to go get your money and get their crypto to go play their games in their ecosphere, and solving the problem on money is as simple as that. But that's a different story for a different day. But anyway, so what else would you like to discuss? Because I'll sure bleed your ears out, and we can talk all night long. I don't know how much time.
Let's close out and talk about the rebate program, how it works, and
so we asked. So here, buying and selling is controlled by who? Big media and big tech, right? Mm-hmm. They broker all the buying and selling. Businesses have to pay them in a bidding war to get visibility, right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
You ever bought clicks and impressions on Facebook or anything?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So you go in and you bid, and you do it based on two things, geo and keyword. So if you want to win pizza in Vero Beach, you're bidding to be the first ad on somebody's phone when they search for pizza in Vero Beach. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You've used search engines, so you understand that's how they work. It's that simple. And so there's this bidding war to give big tech money to show up. There's the same bidding war that's gone on forever to pay TV and radio and newspapers the most money, so you get the lowest rates in either the biggest ad in the newspaper, which nobody gets a newspaper anymore, or the most spots on the radio station or the most spots on the TV station. And the more you run, the closer you get to making a sale and getting a sale. But no one can tell you how much you got to spend for you to make a profit, which if you just keep spending and you don't make a profit, you go out of business. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So since you didn't understand, you don't really know clicks and impressions. So what happened is that world, JoJo, was all about who gave the big media, the most money. TV, radio, newspaper, the most money. You got the most of everything, and you ended up with the most sales. That's how it worked. Whoever gave them the most money got the most chances at the most sales. It's a bidding war, an auction, right? Why? Because that world evolved in the 1600s and 1700s and 1800s and early 1900s when everybody was disconnected. Everybody was in different places. Getting the word out to an audience was hard. So the media said, we already got the audience, so pay us the money for the advertising, and we'll propagate your message, your ad in the newspaper, your TV spot, once TV came along, radios. So that's how that whole system worked. But guess what happened in 2000? So that whole world, so you understand that whole world worked off of, I have a TV show. What was an old stupid show? Blossom. And I'm going to charge you $50,000 a 30-second spot on that show. And so businesses paid for it because they wanted the audience that was watching that show. But they're not paying the money, and then somebody goes, oh, I saw the ad, I'm going to buy that product. it takes time, and you got to be inundated. And you've been to YouTube. You ever want to hit the skip button on the ads, or do you just watch all
That's
the ads?
right. They got
Let
to
me get
count
that
down.
skip. Let me get that skip button. God, please, this 5 seconds is killing me. Right? You want to get to it because advertising interrupts. It's not what we want. It's not what businesses want. So in that disconnected world, big media made sense. And then big tech came along in 2000 and said, look, we know the world's still disconnected. We weren't. We know this world's still connected, but we got a better way of you advertising where it is you don't have to guess who's watching the ad on TV or seeing it in the newspaper and trust the media to tell you the truth, which they're not going to do. You can put your ad based on the search terms, the keyword and the geo, pizza in Vero Beach. And if somebody sees that ad, we're going to charge you 20 cents.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody clicks on it, comes to your site, it's $1. But it's a bidding war for all the other people who want to get sales for pizza in Vero Beach or tires in Fort Lauderdale, whatever the category, whatever the territory. That's how the whole thing works. And what happened when they changed that, they made it much more accountable than, trust us, we got a lot of people watching Blossom. Trust us, there's a lot of people watching the Super Bowl and pay us so much money. Now they say there's a one-to-one relationship. You're not paying for it unless somebody sees it. And all the money went, whoop. And now $1 trillion is in advertising each year in America. And 70% is over in big tech now. And they do what with our money? That money. They destroy everything that is near and dear to faith, family, and freedom. And so, but how did they get the money? They just changed the rules. Remember what I said? It's not the gold. The golden rule isn't he who makes the rules. It isn't he who has the gold makes the rules. It's he who makes the rules gets the gold. So they changed the rules and they've got all the gold now. Big tech is now big media. They got 70% of all the ad dollars. But it's still a bidding war to pay them more money, and you don't get sales. You get clicks or you get an impression. Mm-hmm. So now, let me tell you how badly broken that is. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
They spend $1 trillion on advertising. Do you know how much they spend on discounts, coupons, rebates, and cash back? Three times that. $3 trillion. $3 trillion. Does it $1 trillion sound like it's working if the business has to give up $3 trillion to make the $1 trillion work? Man. Well, it's that badly broken. It's that vulnerable. And what does a business want? They want to spend money and get a sale. So we ask the question, what if you took all that money, trillions of dollars, because there's more to it than just that money. What if you took all that money and put it into a bidding system, which businesses are already used to using, buying clicks and impressions, but let them bid rebates? Rebates. What does that mean? They only pay for sales. They're in a bidding war to pay people the most money. And so we've created a multi-platform ecosphere, and then we ask the critical question, why does the rebate have to go to the buyer? Why does the cashback have to go to the buyer? And when you do that, that's when their whole system crumbles. When you ask that question in line with, why does a business have to pay for clicks? Why can't they just pay for sales? It's the same bidding war. Let them just bid rebates. That determines visibility. They're still bidding the most money to get visibility for clicks and impressions. Let them bid a rebate to get the sale. And so the sale happens. You buy the pizza. The rebate comes in. No, you don't get the rebate. Our technology multiplies the rebate 4 times. So if it's a $2 rebate, you don't get it. You're the buyer. But you signed up in Freedom Place for free through John, who signed up through Carl, who signed up with Bob, who signed up with some cracker in Florida. A cracker ex-husband. It could be your cracker ex. It could be your cracker ex-husband. And you wouldn't know, and you wouldn't even care. And each one of them gets the money. So that what happens? They get the money that used to go to big tech, and now they find out about products and services by getting the money that used to be in this bidding war going to media, and we cut big tech and big media completely out of the system. So how do you make money? You want those rebates. You want that cash back. You want the money going to clicks and impressions, that trillions of dollars. I would rather that go to people. Guess what? Businesses would rather it go to people. Mm-hmm. Businesses want to pay you the money. Nobody sought to put the system together. We put the system together. Businesses bid rebates. They win a sale. The sale is multiplied to 4 people. Everybody joins for free, gets a trackable link, and passes it on to your friends. And we track who you pass it to, who they pass it to, who they pass it to, and who they pass it to. It's conceivable you could pass it to 1 million people like that. And everything that they buy from businesses paying for sales makes you money from then on. And we've got hundreds of thousands of businesses already. Walmart,
So it's
all of
like
them.
going to the site where you can go shopping
We
and
got
find
everything
all
you
the
could ever
things you
want.
need, right? And
We got
but there's
everything you could ever want.
rebates. There's rebates.
The
So it's
businesses
almost
are
like,
built. Businesses are building rebates to give the money to people instead of using big tech and big media, and they would rather do that because they are only paying for sales.
so the rebate serves as like if the business originally was going to make a sale, like a discount or something like that. So the
It's it,
rebate would be
they can take
similar
all the
to
money
that.
they spend on advertising and all the money that they're spending on rebates and coupons and cashbacks, and now it's all the same money. It's all the same. It's all purpose to get a sale. Why not just bundle it all together and say, let's get a bidding war? Since you're already paying people 3 times as much as you're paying the media, why don't we just pay it all to the people? But there's not a business on earth. Go talk to any car dealer and say, would you rather advertise and just pay for sales? They'll all go, oh yeah. Talk to any pizza. Talk to Domino's, Pizza Hut, and what's the other one? Papa John's. So would you, on all your advertising, would you rather just pay for sales? They go, yeah, I'll pay for sales. Would you rather the money go to people? So what happens is there's a bidding war to get attention, which has already been going on. But the bidding war is based on the money that's going to go to the people after the sale, but it's multiplied to people virally connected to the buyer, so that 4 people are getting the money on every sale from businesses that are only paying for sales, so that what happens? The business gets more sales, so that more
So
people get more money.
so this website that all the businesses sign up to are free. They sign up for free, right?
Mhm.
So how does the website maintain itself, the management of the website and all
Well,
that?
we've got
Is there any
our
funding
tech,
that
yeah,
supports that?
yeah, we got AI on there that'll blow your mind too, and it's all faith, family, and freedom rails. It's pretty cool.
So what pays for that website?
That's what we're doing. We pay for that. So our tech team built Procter and Gamble, American Express, WebMD, things like that. So we have one of the top tech teams, one of the top AI teams
I mean, I
on.
know you built it and everything, but like kind of like my studio here, I pay for my studio to function, continuously. So
Right.
this is a website you're running off of something. Is
Yeah, we have servers. If you're talking about
so
servers and IT, yeah,
are you having to pay for the servers, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is
We
some
have to
of
pay for all that.
is
Yeah, it's
so
been
some of that, is that like a commission that's coming out of the vendors that do the rebates, or I'm just trying
well,
to.
no, that's how we make our money. So there's all kinds of subscriptions and things that people so people can get access to all kinds. We have a classified ads platform. So it's on blockchain. So
Okay,
it's
okay,
secure. We've got a new cars platform
okay,
that's different. We have our own deals platform, kind of like Groupon, but our own.
okay.
It's already got we have a travel platform that's got every major airline, hotel, airline, attraction, and car rental company on it already, ready to go. So you can get on there and you can take subscriptions to these things. And when you do that, the 4 people that are virally connected to you will make money off of that.
I
And
got
then
it.
you can
Okay.
buy things, and some of the things are just subscription based, and some of the things are based on product sales where they're and you're making money like crazy. The predictive modeling on it, if you sign, so you join for free and pass it on. That's all you do, and you're done. You're not repetitively marketing your link or anything. Just pass it to all your friends and family and connections and tell them to do the same. You're done, because that is what's called your first wave of contacts. All these contacts and all this connectivity exist, right? We all live inside of thousands of phones and emails and databases and social media feeds. We're all in thousands and thousands and thousands of these. And all of those people that we're in are connected to thousands and thousands and thousands of people each, who are all connected to. So we're all connected. And we're
Hmm.
using an old big tech, big media system that was built for a disconnected world. And yet we're all connected and we have all these connections. You just need to activate them. Well, how do you do that? You join for free and just pass it on. And when you do that, you're done. And then when those people start buying, you start making money from businesses that are only paying for sales. And so you take and the least amount of money you have to pay, actually, the most amount of money you have to pay is $14.95 a month. But you get to see how much you're making from all the people that you passed your link to, and who they pass their link to, and who they pass their link to. 4 waves of tracking for everybody. And you can see the money you're making before you even have to pay the $14.95 a month, which it isn't going to take much money, because the least amount of money you'll make off of anybody. So think about
Well,
this, if
that
you pass it,
subscription fee is cheaper than the Amazon subscription fee.
well, we're moving towards a platform that we call Nozama, which is Amazon spelled backwards.
No.
And, yeah. And we're going to replace it's a perpetual loop ecosphere. What that means, it's perpetual loop ecosphere, where a business only pays for sales, and the money creates more sales, which creates more commissions, which creates more sales, which creates more commissions. And it's a perpetual loop ecosphere. And once you see it, it's completely different. It's massive in scope, but it's really simple. You join for free and pass it on, and you're done. That's it.
Well, yeah, it does sound different. It reminds me of a little bit of a tier system, but the tier systems usually have just specific products, where this one, you're going to have access to all types of things.
You're
Cars.
not, yeah, you're not, the mistake people have made in affiliate marketing, if you know what that is, and multi-level marketing, it's not a mistake, it's the evolution of business models, is they connect everything to product.
Right.
We're connecting people to a concept that is attached to a marketplace, so that anything that happens in that, if you pass your link, and keep in mind, that's 4 generations. You're not passing your link to people so they can make your money. You're passing it to them so they can pass it so they can make money, because we're going to track 4 ways for everybody. So it has this infinite growth to it. And when you start sticking, I don't know if have you done much AI with ChatGPT and any of that yet?
Yeah, I've done a little bit with ChatGPT.
So you can start, when you start asking it, like we've been, you start saying, what's going to be the reaction? We did this about 8 months ago, thinking, all right, we're going to find out what yahoos we really are. We said, what's going to be the reaction of Facebook, Google, and Amazon to what we're doing? And I show it to you. It says pretty much, they're going to come after you because your model will put them out of business. Well, why? Because they're completely dependent, almost completely dependent on clicks and impressions, on businesses, on them hosting a bidding war for all the business to compete to pay them the most money, whether they get sales or not. Screw that. Screw that. That's so freaking antiquated and stupid, because it was built for this disconnected world when everybody was living on farms and the media grew up. We're all connected. We all have thousands of connections that have thousands of connections. Why not activate that by joining for free and passing your link? And we'll track where it goes. You don't have to, it's literally, everybody joins for free and passes it on. You're done. You're done. Because all we're doing, this goes to the whole cycle of what we're doing. We're going to move everybody out of that corrupt, evil system. And if we move 100 million Americans, which we believe we're going to do this year, into this system, their whole system crumbles. Everything that they're doing crumbles without the money going into advertising and marketing that's going in right now. And it's trillions of dollars, and not just a trillion in advertising. If we change the rules, just like what happened 25 years ago when big tech changed the rules on big media and all the money left big media, and I assure you, 25 years ago, nobody believed that TV, radio, and newspaper were going to go down to the level that they're at. And so we're doing the same thing to them now. Nobody's sitting around going, what's next after Facebook and Amazon? No, what's next after the digital marketing world? We got it. I'm just telling you, we and the people involved with this, the CEO built a little company called GameStop. The tech team built Procter and Gamble and American Express and all kinds of things. These are hitters. These are hitters, and there's 300 people in on this project.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Tim, for joining us today. This has been a really great interview. I've really enjoyed the conversation and learning about, Two for America, freedom for freedom.
I'll say it for you: Two for America, Freedom Place, and the American Legacy Park. So.
Yeah, very, very good, very good. So I hope we got your message out today, and I would love to have you back on, because there's so much more we can talk about.
Well, I talked most of the hour and 40 minutes or so, and I apologize for that. I get going, but
that's okay. This is about you.
I got another 42 hours in me, so if you want to keep going, I can go.
Well, we'll have to get back together soon, and have Bish give me a call.
I will. I'll get with her.
Have Bish give me a call. I'd love to have her on.
Yeah, I'll do a text introduction. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
That'll be perfect.
Well, thank you for having me. What else do you need from me tonight?
Just, I've got your freedomplace.com up top and 24america.com as well. Is there anything else you'd like to share with
That's
our
it.
audience?
Those are the two oars in the water. One of them is the moment to bring everybody together. The other one is to move the money out of the system. And we're rowing this boat towards American Legacy Park, which is a massive, $600 million development. So it's got
Yeah.
hotel and condos and all kinds of stuff.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, and you have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that interview. It was so exciting and so much to talk about. I really enjoyed that interview. Remember to pause to pray for 2 minutes for America. Sign up today, and on July 3rd, you will pray for 2 minutes. That is the day before the America's 250th birthday. So please sign up, join us for prayer on July 3rd, and then November 1st for All Saints Day. Thank you again for joining us here at Binford Chronicles, and have a good evening.
We're going to stop the whole world for 2 minutes. Twice. 2 different moments, 2 historical moments. First, we will gather everyone in Christian ministry, from the pastors to the janitors, in every church and ministry from the 194 nations, to pray for America, all at the same moment in time, for the first time ever, on July 3rd, on the eve of America's 250th birthday. To then kick off the global sign-up of 2 billion believers led through the unique app technology for one singular global moment of awakening on November 1st, 2026, All Saints Day, a Sunday, 2 days before America's elections. The global Christian ministry leaders and servants leading the world to a seminal moment in American history. The moment the entire world stops to pay America back by praying for America for 2 minutes.